We are two dope crones, and we are suffering the planets.
Yeah.
We've got Mars square. I keep forgetting.
Uranus,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
I can't believe I remembered that.
I have brain fog like nothing else. No coffee can fix me today.
Yeah.
And
I've been crying all morning.
Yeah,
So
Mars
we're
square
feeling it.
Uranus, and then Mercury square Neptune. I think that's the one
Is
I'm
that the
feeling.
one you're feeling?
Yeah, Neptune is like dreams and illusions, mysticism, and Mercury is communication. So the two are not meeting.
It's not working. Yeah.
Yeah. But you tell a little bit about your day so far.
Well, I slept fine last night. This is the first summer since childhood that I have been able to sleep more than 1 or 2 hours a night and not been up 36 hours at a time quite often. This is literally the first summer of my life that has not been that way. I'm going to be 69 this December, so this is a big deal. It's a big
transformation.
deal. Yeah, it's huge. I've been working on this since 2017, trying to get to this point. But anyway, after I meditated, I started crying, and it's PTSD kind of stuff. It's childhood stuff, but of course, it always relates to right now, things that I'm concerned about. And I have 2 grown children, with their own children, and they live far away.
You cried over not being able to fix
my family. Yeah, and
I think that's probably a very common
from childhood. Yeah,
sentiment.
If anything that's happened to you before you're 7 years old, you were in an alpha state, and so anything that happens before 7, the child sees as their fault.
Yeah.
Because they're the center of as far as they know, they're the center of the world. We call it egocentric, but it could also, if you're looking at it spiritually, it's also, there's still newly spirit.
Well, no, what needs to be challenged with
world.
That is the negative notion of the ego, I think. Because we are the center of our universe, consciousness-wise.
Well, that's true. So you see, we don't always agree about shit.
That, just literally, each of us is the center of our world. That doesn't change just because we learn of the reality of others.
But that's the fact, is you haven't learned that reality until you're 7.
Yeah. So
anything that happens, you take it on.
And it's a pattern you repeat for the rest of your life.
The rest of your life, yeah.
I was an Army brat. I traveled a bunch, so I can't settle anywhere. I can't I have stapled myself a few times, different places, but the impulse has always still been there. Now I'm getting old, finally, and that's helping me. I just want to be comfortable.
Yeah. When I lived in Seattle and I was younger, I moved 3 times in 1 year. I often moved twice in a year. I moved almost every year. Until I married Dan, and we went out to the suburbs, and that was a different kind of hell for me. To say I didn't fit in the suburbs was a gross understatement. I did way better on Capitol Hill in Seattle, where all the artists and the rest of the unacceptable people were living.
Unacceptable people, I like that. Yeah. The long-haired freaky people.
I had trans friends, lots of gay friends. Schizophrenic friends. I had all kinds of friends, and I also did a lot of work with people on the street because I was so near living there myself. I was a musician, so the charity that I would do is I would go and play because I really don't like this, but churches often make people sit through a sermon before they'll feed them, and I did some of that work and tried to make the music something they would be able to relate to and appreciate. I talked to the pastor about that a lot. But I wasn't behind the lines. I was sitting there with them. I'd go sit and eat lunch with them and talk with them and find out what their stories really were. And they were, real people with real stories.
It's not about changing the people. I don't like... Well, I'm realizing anyway that I just don't subscribe to the Christianity as it is practiced here.
Yeah.
And that I really, really like Kabbalah. and just am naturally being funneled into Jewish mysticism. And I'm listening, all these Jewish rabbis are appearing in my YouTube feed now, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is what I've been trying to say the whole time. Or just totally different perspectives, and very integrative and not guilt-based. And the Christianity here is just trying to absorb you into their like cult, into the, I don't know, it's trying to change instead of accept. Jesus, well, I don't even know. I'm not going to speak for Jesus. Too many people speak for Jesus. So I feel like the main
Jesus
benefit of
accepted
religion,
everybody, and the current version of Christianity in this nation is nothing like that. That I feel comfortable saying that because I still read the Bible all the time.
There's a lot of Jesus rejecting things, the flipping tables and rebuking and stuff like that.
That wasn't the people. That was thievery.
Yeah, usually I'm like
that was thievery.
Yeah.
You know, he hung out with all the unacceptable people in society.
Yeah.
And he said, first person with no sin, cast the stone.
Yeah.
You know?
And a wealthy man is something about, well, it'll be very difficult for him to get through to heaven, like passing through the eye of a needle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That isn't because it's evil to be wealthy. It's because if you get too much wealth, it becomes about keeping the wealth at all costs.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
It was probably foreseen by him how his message was going to be distorted and capitalized on. And I don't even know, like, the first thing I've been thinking with the Jewish thing is, well, I got to figure out what this relationship with money is. I've never understood the money thing. Like, I'm finally catching on with, like, money being an energy, but money, like, no energy is neutral. There's still a good and a bad spectrum there. And,
that's not from the money, though. That's from the people.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. But like the spiritual circles are now talking about like it's a completely neutral energy, like just attract more, just have an abundance mindset. And I don't
Are they all Americans?
Yes.
I thought so.
I'm assuming.
The ones I've listened to aren't saying that.
I don't know, all about.
Yeah. The Americans always do.
Swedish.
It always comes down to monetization in this country.
Yeah.
Always. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, it's going to be monetized.
I've been really feeling just straight up anger towards the money mindset here. I don't even want to view money as the bad. I don't think money is the word. It's the people and the intention and the exaltation of money.
Yeah.
And affluence.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's this country just needs some balance. You know, we need some balance.
We are
because it's just become about everything being for sale, everything, you know, and that all you have to do is spend money and your life is going to be fine. I mean, I don't watch regular TV anymore. I just watch YouTube and Netflix and HBO and all that other stuff, you know. But I'm really struck by the ads still because I don't see that many ads. And so when I see an ad, it really makes an impression.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when I was raising my son, who's now 30, when we would watch TV, I used to say, who do you think they think is watching this show? This ad isn't here just willy-nilly. It's here for a reason. Mm-hmm. You know, what's the story they're telling? Yeah. Who are they talking to? And I still think so much about that. And it's disturbing to me, you know, because
I've been disturbed my whole life.
Well, me too. This is nothing new, you know. But it's sad.
Yeah.
You know. I'm not against capitalism. I just want to say
and
that.
I'm not
against capitalism. We're not saying that. Mm-mm. But what we're saying is there needs to be some balance here, because runaway capitalism is destructive. It ruins people's health because they're eating stuff they shouldn't be eating, you know, so that they can keep the insurance companies in business because they're unwell. These are the things that I don't like that capitalism has become because of all of the lobbyists, the way they changed the laws when I was younger, and you were not born yet. Yeah. And that is the real shame of what's going on. And it's happened before in the United States. We come around like this once a century at least, where it's gotten to be runaway wealth, which is the reason that the original white people came here, was to get away from that,
And they're probably
but then they
repeating
brought
the
it with them.
cycles from
They brought it with
first
them.
7 years
Yeah,
of life.
they brought it with them, and they set it in place when they set up a new country.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about money. They didn't want to. They didn't want to have to give their money
I
to
see
somebody
money
else.
as
With the white people who came here, it's always about the money. And what my deep belief is, and I don't expect anybody to share this, it's just mine, is that this land was different. It had different people in it to begin with, and I believe that energy still comes up out of the ground and
it is
saves
still here.
our butts.
Yes,
I believe it saves our butts, because it seems
Mhm.
like this nation so far has always righted itself out of that again.
Well,
Somewhat,
nature always writes it. Period.
Yeah.
That's so. Uranus is the sky god. He's typically associated with freedom and liberation, and we've got Mars, the god of war, square Uranus right now. We're all fighting for our piece of sky, not piece of the pie. It's like there's some vision of liberation, I feel, that is trying to come through, and money does mean liberation to a point, but now we think it can get us out of all of our inner problems, especially relational ones, like, oh, if I just had enough money, I could get away from this or that influence, or like just build my own little paradise and everything will come to me. And that's like an imbalanced spiritual view. Like everyone wants to be the attractor, the magnet, instead of putting anything out there. As well, like anything of value. Like I feel like the Venusian cause of value. Like we think Venus is just the planet of love and beauty. It was new to me that it was even the planet of money, like finance. Taurus and Libra are the signs that are ruled by Venus. And Taurus is very much about the material world and monetary things. So the word I'm just kind of chanting everywhere is values. We need values to back our money. Like, I know back when Ron Paul was running and it was all about into the Fed and keeping gold attached to the dollar. I'm very bad at keeping up with these in the practical sense. But even just figuratively, that divorce from the tangible and the concept of money, it's causing all kinds of problems. Like, we just have a world where everything, like fluff, costs $10. I go out and I have no idea. I spend, it's like I'm just throwing out $10 bills. Everything costs $10, even if it's just a beverage. Like, that's how it feels.
Yeah.
And then a meal, $20 with the tip.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm buying. Like, I'm just living and spending so much money.
That's what everybody's doing right now. That's what that's what the government wants you to do.
Yeah.
Because that's what keeps the government in place and going. It's just like royalty, folks. It's really no different.
Thin veils.
You just make the figurehead look a little different. That's the only difference here. So if you're the kind of person who cares about these things, you want to be thinking about your life and how you want to live your life, and don't turn on the Disney Channel
and space out, numb out.
Yeah, and just think that the prince or the princess is going to come save you. Those messages really annoy me. She knows that. It's one of my pet peeves. Every Christmas, all of these princess stories with I
still like them because I see them.
I hate them.
I see them as psychological. Again, like seeing all of the characters as yourself, like as representations of yourself, instead of, oh, I'm the princess and he's going to come save me. Instead, it's like you are the princess and the dragon and the guy. Like our psyche contains all of the elements, and we're trying to unite them and become whole.
But I don't believe that's what they're doing when they're telling those stories, because they're not set up that way.
It's
the real Grimm's fairy tales are, folks.
Yeah.
Now
they can be.
Those are the stories I'm actually in favor of.
Yeah.
Because that's different than Disney's Cinderella. Where all the little mice and everybody's making all their little gifts and things. In the real Cinderella, she was told before her mother died that everything would be based on her character, maintaining her good character. And the glass slipper, the whole thing wasn't about that Cinderella was special and had this glass slipper and that's what got her the prince. What it was is her stepsisters were being told by their mother to cut off part of their heel or cut off part of their toe, that it wouldn't matter because they were going to be so important. Are y'all getting this message? This isn't
don't
new
cut off parts of yourself.
for anybody or anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what the real Grimm's fairy tale was saying. And in the end, Cinderella became the princess, but it was because she kept her whole self.
Yes.
She kept true to her true values. That's what those German fairy tales were really about. I was still being raised by people who still weren't real happy that the Christians had come over the mountains, you know, and just smeared everything to pieces,
Yeah.
you know. And they were Christians, but they were a real different kind of Christian than any of the Christians I've known since then.
Mm-hmm.
They were much more earth-based, much more self-responsibility based.
Your German family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they were perfect, but I'm just saying that their way of worshiping in a church and living with that at home was very different than anybody
Yeah.
I've met since then.
I honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, I really, I'm like, do I even need to try to be tactful? I don't know. The Christianity that is here
Now,
is
Yeah.
shut off your mind.
mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's infuriating, and we were given intelligence. We were given mental faculties and spiritual faculties that the prevailing ideology does not want you to use, and it's just numbing you out with phrases that you put on coffee cups and Jesus,
Yeah.
Jesus, Jesus.
Yeah.
I think the true view of taking Jesus' name is in vain is to use it as vanity. People are using it as a vainglorious, look, I am with Jesus, I am a chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
That's taking the Lord's name in vain.
I think so.
You are
I've
not-
always thought so.
It's, okay, like, I'm just gonna say it, Jesus fucking Christ. This is not the sin right there. The sin is Jesus, therefore I am better than you.
Yeah.
Jesus. Just, they make it all about that and make Jesus himself into an idol.
Yeah.
Not to mention it's a blood sacrifice. Like, so then they come against witches, like whatever witchcraft is up to is bad. The whole religion is based on a blood sacrifice. Goodness. And I understand it's supposed to be like the blood sacrifice to end all blood sacrifices or something, but it's still, I don't know. There are so many days that I'm like, man, I want to be a Christian, like, because of things that I see in the Bible or in the deep intelligence of like Kabbalist, Jewish, mystical, anybody mystical. But then I try to translate it to my real life and I can't because Christians. Like,
But I can because I was taught to read the Bible by a different kind of people.
yeah.
You know?
So basically
my
people
big
like
problem
me
has
just have
been
to be
keeping
quiet.
my mouth shut in public.
Yeah.
And I didn't do any better. I'm in the middle of the country now, but I didn't do any better on the West Coast because I see the New Age people the same way.
Yeah.
They
the
decide
exact
something
same way.
is a certain way, and if you don't
We're
believe
all-
exactly the way they believe, you're not good enough for them either.
We are exactly between worlds. We piss off both
everybody,
sides.
yeah,
So
we
don't be
pretty
too
much
offended.
Make everybody mad. Yeah, so if you don't like this discussion, come on back. We won't be talking about this anytime soon again.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
It's Mars
Mars and
Square.
it's Mars Square, you're honest.
We gotta break free from this oppression, or at least stand in solidarity here.
Yeah. We're sitting solidarity.
Yeah.
We did not turn the watch on. Do we have any idea how long we've been talking? We've been trying to be good.
It shows
I
me a
should
time.
have
Oh, I
said-
can see down there.
Can you? What is it?
It's at 20 minutes. So,
We're getting so good at this.
yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So,
It's okay. It's okay. We're all going to be fine here. If you're a praying person, pray. I pray every day and every night, and during the day too. I still pray. But when you're praying, consider mindfully how you're praying, what you're praying for, and why you're praying.
Can you talk about Rebecca and the well again? Because I think this is so
it's going to run us over a little bit. But yeah.
Just a few minutes.
Stuff comes out of my mouth once in a while, and I feel like it's not my conscious mind. That's what I know for sure. And so I was in here one day, and I was talking to my grandparents and thanking everybody for what they did before me, and what I'm trying to do to heal 7 generations in my family, And I stood up, and the words "Rebecca at the well" came out of my mouth, and I was like, okay, that's weird. I know that story, but why did that come out? So I decided to read it again, and I saw something that I hadn't seen before. I hadn't looked at it quite this way. What the real story was about, that part of it, the going to the well, was the servant was told, in no uncertain terms, that he was to find someone from his master's original homeland to marry his son. Okay, and he prayed to God that he needed a very clear sign, and he said, "This is what I need." He said, "I'm going to go to the well," and he said, "I will know it's the right person when they not only offer me water, but they offer my animal water." And Rebecca was the only person who did that.
So it's not just a story about, for one, manifestation. So would we have specific desires?
About intent.
It's about intent.
It's about intent.
And wanting something good, like someone with values.
Yes.
And also faith, because in knowing that it would happen, knowing that God would deliver, it happened.
Well, in the Bible it says, knock and the door will be answered, ask and
ask and you will receive.
You will receive. And
it's having those 3 things aligned.
Yes, you have to have those 3 things aligned.
Intention, and right values.
Yes.
So we can't just manifest $10,000 because we want to live a vacation life forever. I really think that that's behind inflation. Just the American mindset that we can
too much is never enough.
Detach money from any sense of tangible value.
Yes. Yeah. I just watched Arnold Schwarzenegger's documentary about himself, and he's got this gigantic house, and he said, this is a mixture of my Austrian background and American. He goes, it's like my Austrian house, but big. And that's what he loves about America. He said it over and over. That here everything's got to be big.
I like the big bathrooms, like public restrooms. Fan of those. I do like having a nice roomy vehicle.
Yeah.
I like that aspect of the American freedom thing, the open road, and even the unfilled spaces, just vast, wide, open plain. There are things to love. I'm not all against America, whatever that is. But we just need a lot of reflection, and we have a lot of karma coming. We're going to be learning some hard lessons, and it's just going to come. Nature will take care of us. God will take care of us. There's a unity between heaven and earth. That's another thing about Christianity. It pits the above against the below, and that is not the way it goes.
And also not what Christ did. That's the business part of Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
how you
on
win
all
wars.
Spirituality.
They use that to win wars.
Most of human spirituality so far is trying to do that, to separate the two.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our show today.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to us.
We love you guys. Yeah, thanks for being here with us and listening to us complain today. If you don't like any
of it, it's Mars or Uranus's fault, or both of them.
Yeah, so you don't have to put a thumbs down. We already know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we bless everybody. We hope you're doing well. And if you saw my crow card this morning, you know that I've had the same card 2 days basically in a row, and saw a different message.
Yeah.
So, it's all here and here, folks.
This is
we
where
take-
God communicates.
we take this with us everywhere, you know.
Much
all right.
love.
Yeah.
Peace
Peace
out.
out.